Welcome, everyone. Let's just dive right in because today we've got a super practical, absolutely essential explainer lined up for you. We're going to break down a really vital piece of public health communication. It's basically a life-saving cheat sheet focused entirely on defending yourself, your home, and your family from dengue fever.
What we'll be exploring today is this fantastic, beautifully designed public health poster that acts as a complete roadmap for dengue prevention. I absolutely love going through documents like this because they take these really complex public health strategies and just distill them down into everyday, practical steps that any of us can actually use. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to interpret and, more importantly, how to apply every single piece of advice packed into this guide.
So, to get us there, we'll be tackling four main areas today. First, the dengue fever threat. Second, eliminating mosquito habitats. Third, protecting against bites. And fourth, when to seek treatment.
All right, kicking things off with part one, the dengue fever threat.
Right off the bat, the poster shows us exactly what we're up against. Notice those very distinct markings on the mosquito? That's the Aedes mosquito, but a lot of people just call it the tiger mosquito because of those crazy stripes. The source makes it crystal clear. It's the bite of this specific infected mosquito that causes the really severe illness we know as dengue fever. Truly understanding the carrier is step one in understanding your risk.
Now, you might be wondering who is actually at risk here. Well, while it can definitely affect folks of all ages, it's absolutely crucial to point out the highly vulnerable populations. The poster deliberately highlights pregnant women and young children. And that's such a profound reminder, right? Our prevention efforts aren't just about us individually. They're really about throwing a protective shield around the most vulnerable members of our families.
I love how the poster structures our counterattack here. It essentially splits our defense into two completely distinct but perfectly complementary strategies. On one side, you have environmental defense. That's all about clearing out our surroundings and destroying where they live. And on the flip side, we have personal defense, which is all about physically shielding our own bodies. It's a total 360-degree approach to staying safe. Which brings us to part two, eliminating mosquito habitats.
So here is where we go on the offensive. The guide lays out 3 super actionable steps for shutting down mosquito breeding grounds right in our own backyards. We need to sweep and clean, clear out water-holding trash, and definitely secure any standing water stored in jars. First up, sweeping and tidying your yard. I know, it sounds a bit basic, doesn't it? But honestly, general cleanliness is the literal foundation of environmental defense. Mosquitoes love to hide out and clutter where moisture gathers, so by just keeping our space swept up and free of random debris, we instantly make our homes a whole lot less inviting for them to settle in and multiply.
Next, we absolutely have to clear out the junk. Things like old tires, tin cans, or really any trash that collects stagnant water. Because the Aedes mosquito lays its eggs in still water, even something as small as a discarded can or a tire left out in the rain can turn into a massive breeding site. It's so important to walk around your property and just eliminate anything that pools water. You're literally cutting off their life cycle at the source. But what about the water we actually need to keep around the house? Well, the guide offers 3 really brilliant ways to handle water storage jars. First, the easiest one, just use a tight lid to block them from getting inside. Second, you can use a safe larvicide, like a bait, to treat the water. And third, which I think is super cool, is using nature's own pest control. You just drop some small fish, like guppies, into the jars. They naturally gobble up the mosquito larvae before they even have a chance to hatch. It's just a fantastic, sustainable fix.
Moving right along to section 3, protecting against bites.
So this is the second half of our battle plan. If some mosquitoes do manage to stick around, how do we stop from biting us? The poster gives us 3 straightforward tactics for shielding our bodies: wearing long-sleeved clothing, using window screens, and sleeping under mosquito nets.
The message here is loud, clear, and pretty simple. Cover up. Tossing on a long-sleeve shirt and long pants is basically deploying your own personal armor. By just minimizing how much skin you have exposed, you dramatically reduce the targets available to a hungry mosquito. It's a totally low-tech but incredibly highly effective habit to get into.
Next, we take that same idea from our bodies to our buildings. Installing screens on windows and doors is an absolute game changer. Remember, these dengue-carrying mosquitoes are active during the day, which is exactly when we want to throw the windows open for a nice breeze. Putting up screens means we still get that fresh air, but we keep the viral threat locked safely on the outside. And when it's time for bed, Always sleep securely under a tucked-in mosquito net. It's a total necessity in mosquito-heavy areas. Sure, the Aedes mosquito is mostly a day biter, but a good net stops bites from any random opportunistic insect while we're sleeping and completely defenseless. It just creates this perfect, impenetrable little safety bubble.
Which brings us to our fourth and final section, when to seek treatment.
Now, I really want you to pay attention to this bottom line directive, because the tone of the poster shifts here to give us a very serious warning. It says, if you experience a high fever, go immediately to the nearest health center or hospital. Dengue can escalate so fast. The guide isn't telling us to wait it out on the couch, and it isn't suggesting over-the-counter painkillers. It gives us one definitive symptom to watch out for, a sudden high fever, and one definitive action to take.
And to really drive this home, they show a local clinic clearly marked with a red cross. That's our visual cue that professional medical help is non-negotiable here. Home remedies just will not cure dengue fever. Honestly, knowing exactly where your nearest clinic is located before you actually need it is the ultimate safety net this guide wants us to build. When you zoom out and look at this complete strategy, it really all comes together, doesn't it? From identifying that striped tiger mosquito to sweeping the yard, dumping out old tires, tossing guppies in our water jars, wearing long sleeves, and knowing exactly when it's time to rush to the clinic. All of these little micro steps combine into one incredibly powerful, unified shield for your whole family. But hey, none of this knowledge actually helps if we don't put it into practice, right? So based on what we covered in today's explainer, I want to leave you with one pressing question. Have you checked your home for standing water today? Seriously, take 5 minutes, go take a walk around your yard, check your screens, and put this life-saving guide to work. Thank you so much for hanging out and learning with me today, and definitely stay safe out there.